Good day, everyone. This is Anna Weeks here. I'm a journalist and activist from South Africa, and today we're with Luyanda Hlatshwayo from the African Reclaimers Organization based in Johannesburg, South Africa. Luyanda is a former reclaimer and the spokesperson and the business development manager of the organization. Good day, Luyanda. How are you?
I'm well, and you, Anna. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. Please, can you tell us a bit about the African Reclaimers Organization?
Well, the African Reclaimers Organization is a member-based organization which was originally founded by reclaimers for the purpose of finding solutions, because we never had any other structure that lobbies or talks about reclaimers. So if you know the history of reclaimers, we are undermined, there's no recognition, so we're basically invisible. And in 2016, the city of Johannesburg and other municipalities were actually starting the process of privatizing our work. And fortunately, there was a process that the RESA project funded by WIGO, had actually employed by on contract at the time. And unfortunately, we were able to meet with him. He was able to help us win the battles that we had at the time. But that actually arose a need for reclaimers to actually have their own organization, because we can't be unionized, we can't have unions, we're not employed. And the most important thing was us being the ones that tell our stories, us being the ones that lobby for our problems, and that's us being the ones that start educating the rest of our society and integrating ourselves in society. So that was the birth of ARO. African Reclaimers Organization is for reclaimers in the streets, in the landfills, black, white, doesn't matter the nationality. We are not South African, we are African. The only thing that matters is that you must be a reclaimer.
Thank you. So in South Africa, there are about 90,000 people working as reclaimers. So basically going door to door when households put out their refuse, their garbage, and trying to take out anything that's recyclable, and even working in landfill sites. Is that correct?
That is very correct. That is very correct. So Melody Sampson calls it separation at source and separation outside source. Wherever there is recyclable, reclaimers actually collect it. So it's a system that has been organically formed by the informal sector, supporting government and subsidizing the environment for decades now.
Great. And of course, as you mentioned, you don't earn a monthly wage. You're not employees of any company. You're basically self-employed people doing this work who've come together to organize to improve the conditions in the sector.
Yes. We're entrepreneurs, because we don't earn a salary. We are not employed by anyone. Reclaiming is a job for people who don't want to sit down and beg. It's not a job for people who feel pity for themselves. I needed a job in 2015, and I didn't want to beg anyone. I woke up and decided I need to make a change for my life. So reclaimers, all of them are people that are looking at finding solutions and not just waiting for someone to help through, which is really the mandate that ARO has been built on. How do we find solutions from the problems of people complaining about us being all over the road, about us, the informality of our work, people asking why these guys going through bins. So we found the need for us to educate everyone and say, this is why we're doing this. I'm not going through a bin because I'm hungry. I'm actually looking for a early in the morning because we value our work. We wake up morning, we've got the target. So reclaimers are informed a proper working systems for themselves. That's why it was very important when municipalities have to start the important that it's not us that have to be integrated in the municipal systems, because we are the ones that know what we're doing. We need to integrate everyone into our proper working system. So it's very important for us to understand that African reclaimers are saying we don't want to be unionized. We don't want to be told what to do. We want to advise you what actually we've been doing. The whole world is looking at saying we need to find a way of making recycling work. But when you look at the informal sector, we've been doing that for 30 years. We should be the ones that lead the process of integration, the process of plastic reduction, the process of making sure that we're saving the environment. Because we're not doing it once a year on World Environmental Day. We're doing it each and every single day. We are environmental agents every day. So we are the ones that have to be piloting, that have to be designing these integration programs so that can make sure that they move forward and make sure that we have research-driven information to make these programs work.
And definitely you aren't a marginal group, because research by the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research has shown that as informal recyclers, you collect almost 90% of all the materials that are recycled in South Africa. So definitely you should be the ones advising local governments on how to proceed with recycling. But can you please just tell us, in that light, what are some of the problems that you are facing with regards to privatization of garbage dumps and landfill sites?
I think it's not only in South Africa, it's a global problem where the solution of landfilling is no longer a solution for the rest of the world. You know, the solutions of plastic were great in the 80s, but they're becoming a problem now. And the change in the world, it just needs to be a system that involves everyone and integrates everyone. And municipalities don't really see the importance of the integrated process that reclaimers have to play in the process of landfill closure. We don't say landfills have to be closed. We say you need to communicate, you need to engage with all the stakeholders in the process of change. You know, whether we agree on landfills or not, but we need to communicate in this process of change. Because plastic is a problem. We need to drive out plastic, but maybe we don't really need to drive out. We need to find solutions how to make plastic work for us and make sure plastic doesn't affect the environment. So the decision to make for municipalities to make decisions on their own has a lot of unintended consequences, not only to the informal sector, but to the rest of society. If you shut down landfills, you need to have a proper plan. You have to talk to reclaimers and create a social plan. So at the most, then I actually say, before you can even consider closing a landfill, you need to come down, you need to talk to us first, because you can't close the landfill without having alternative plans for the thousands of workers who have been earning a living, raising their families, and now you close the landfill without talking to them. You are disregarding them as workers. You need to first speak to us, work with us, create social plans, and then we can have a proper plan of how do we do this. You need to create a Majuva recovery facility. You need to create an enabling environment for separation and source. You need to give proper resources to the people who are doing the separation and source. You need to create systems, because the recycling industry is fully relying on the informal sector, which is not designed, which has not integrated at all. So when you're making changes, it's very important that now we need to find a way of making sure that we communicate with all levels of government, local level, provincial government, the ministry, and making sure that policies make sure that they recognize the people who are going to be affected when landfills are closed.
So is it correct to say that in a huge city like Johannesburg, there's no separation of recycling at source? I mean, residents don't have the option of putting their plastic into a separate bin. It's the African Reclaimers Organization who is doing all this work.
Yes, yes. The reclaimer has been the one. Even me, before the organization started, I was already talking to residents, trying by all means to tell them what I need, what I don't need, telling them to put their glass in a separate plastic because it makes it difficult for me to get everything if broken glass is in the bin. So the education has been happening all along. And it was important that we on the book, I think firstly, I have to say, we have to thank Comrade Eli Kolisang, who helped us to actually do this in a united process. Guys at the landfills and all the guys in the landfill had to come down, sit on the table and say, this is my experience of separation source. And then so we co-designed ourselves that process that we individually have been doing. And when we came down and say we are doing it in suburbs collectively as reclaimers, what we saw was beautiful, where residents directly communicated with us. We started having WhatsApp groups, full communication on where do we collect. Residents would call us and say, is this thing recyclable? Should I put it in there? What do I do with this? So the direct engagement with the people that are throwing the waste was a very critical step of us starting that separation source. So it was difficult. The city came up with other programs of separation source, but they don't really work. Mm-hmm. We have a system that is self-funded. The funding is our bodies and our minds and our spirits. So the city can come up with money, give private contractors a lot of money to do what we're doing. It's not possible for them to replicate what we're doing because there's too many of us on the ground. We are making a very significant impact and you can't remove it.
Exactly. So there's tens of thousands of reclaimers actually working on the ground in this massive city of Johannesburg, separating the recycling from the garbage. And of course, this can't be outsourced. This can't be privatized. There's no ways that a few private contractors with a truck would be able to do what you do. And I think I've personally seen in other countries when municipalities come up with these projects to recycle without involving the actual recycling workers. In some countries, there are projects where recycling is just all put into a container, glass, plastic, paper, all mixed together, and then shipped off to China to be disposed of. So whereas you're actually separating basically all the plastic in Johannesburg. Now, how much plastic does your organization collect a year? Do you have a figure?
It's a very huge figure. Firstly, a single reclaimer collects approximately about 150 kilograms of recyclables a day. And in Johannesburg alone, I think we're looking at about 20,000 reclaimers. So you get through the numbers. It's a lot. Now what the African Reclaimers Organization has done is supporting the work that reclaimers are already doing on the things that really matter. The education and enables first for us to make our work simple. So when the residents have already separated the waste, it becomes quicker. So we can actually do more work. The support of logistics, compared to trolley. So when you have a truck that's supporting you, then you don't need to do one bag. You don't need to do 150 kilograms. So now you're getting guys doing about 550 kilograms of recyclable materials on a daily basis. So the support we're bringing in is actually doubled or even tripled the amount of work that the reclaimers are doing. And the support for infrastructure. So now because you are collecting more materials, you need to have proper sorting spaces, proper storage places. And we've had partners who come through and said, We see what you're doing. Let's support on where you want to do, or things that matter the most. And we never ask for money. We actually ask for proper working material. So we have trucks, we have warehouses, we have enabling things that actually allow an entrepreneur to work, not money. If you give me money, I'll use it. But if you give me a truck, I'll be able to help a lot of people to actually increase their income.
And that's through organizing as a strong, united body of reclaimers that you've actually been able as a collective to buy trucks and warehouses instead of continuing to operate as individuals.
Yes. Well, as I said, we're entrepreneurs. People will still work individuals, but being in a body of Aro has its advantages. You know, we collectively, as all the reclaimers of Aro, if we were to decide not to collect for 1 week, the city will have serious problems. They will have to contract more trucks. They'll have to pay more money in making sure that they collect, and the landfills will fill up. If we decide not to sell for a week, industries will collapse. Because of organizing, we've been able to have the power. It's not power to dismantle the municipal system or the private system, but power to actually start lobbying, power to actually start saying we are very important stakeholders. You can't make decisions without involving us. You know, we can't continue making sure that people make money out of the informal sector, unpaid labor, and we put a lot of effort. This time is very important for government and business industry to come through and say, guys, you have been doing a lot of work. Let's find ways of sitting down on the table and start making meaningful engagements so that we can properly support the informal sector and solve the problems of climate change, solve the problems of plastic, solve the social problems that are there, that are causing people to go and cope with bins. There's no work. That is why people are doing this. And the African Reclaimers Organization has managed to find some of the solutions to the problems, to the social problems. You know, so we created 2 early childhood development centers where children of reclaimers are able to go through schooling without paying any money. We've been able to create programs, food gardens. We've been able to create a support system through COVID and other. We've been able to create many programs, not just looking at the reclaimer as a worker, but looking at the reclaimer holistically as a human. So the importance of organizing, the raw organizing that we have inherited from Comrade Eli has really made a significant impact. And the importance of workers being accountable, workers taking charge, workers being the ones that want to be accountable for the work that they're doing. We are saying we don't want to be told what to do. We want to come and tell people that this is how you want to treat us. This is how you are supposed to treat reclaimers. This is how we're supposed to be included into the formal systems. This is so the beauty of this sector is that you have the informal sector coming up and saying we don't want to do it this way and we want to do it this way. It's important for us to make change from the ground. I see it as a revolution, a very big movement where the informal sector is slowly taking charge.
Wow, that's amazing. Let's actually talk about Comrade Eli now. You've mentioned him several times, one of your founders, an activist, Eli Kodisang. I remember Eli 25 years ago in the anti-privatization movement in Johannesburg. He's been an activist since he was 12 years old for about 40 years now, and he helped to found the African Reclaimers Organization. In May this year, he was very sadly diagnosed with multiple myeloma, a form of blood cancer. His medical costs every month are about more than $2,000. And I understand that the African Reclaimers Organization has started an online fundraiser to help collect for costs to extend Eli's life.
Yes, yes. It's unfortunate that the most important people in the struggle, we have them for a short period of time. And the comrade Eli has been very important, very critical in the process of organizing the informal workers in South Africa, not just in our space of reclaimers. Organizing of workers goes back is very big in South Africa. The importance of recognition of migrant workers is one of the things he taught me. The economy of South Africa was built on workers, was built on migrant workers, was actually built on informality, informal workers. So we need to preserve all this institutional knowledge that we kind of almost lost as a country in South Africa, as a people. And Comrade Eli still has that raw, concrete organizing activism that has shook the informal sector in the recycling space and put it on a very high pedestal. And the beneficiaries of that have been a lot of people who've been forgotten, who have been avoided, who have been invisible. So he's been playing a very critical role, and it has saddened us that the cancer really shook us. And we started a campaign to organize funds for his medication, and we strongly believe and hope that we will find enough money to help him with his process of recovery, and would really love to have some support in helping, making sure that we keep Comrade Eli with us. It came at a wrong time. Me and him were already planning the takeover of Africa. So there was a need in Kenya, there was a need in Botswana, there's a need in Lesotho to do exactly this type of role organizing and bring the informal sectors in different countries to be able to replicate what we are doing and give the power of the people, give the people power back. So we do need a lot of support, and we really appreciate the little funding, the most funding we can get to support Comrade Eli.
Thank you. And Comrade Eli's fundraising campaign is targeting about, I think, $26,000 or so, and they still have a long way to go. So if anybody can contribute, please visit www.backabuddy.co.za. You'll find a search bar, and if you type in there, Help Eli Fight Cancer, you'll get to Eli's fundraising page, and we'll put the link up for you as well. You can learn more about the African Reclaimers Organization at www.africanreclaimers.org. Luyanda, can you tell us any more about your most immediate struggles? I understand there's a massive landfill site that will be closed, and you've been given 10 days notice, and some reclaimers have been working there for 30 years.
Yes, it's again, as I said, the problem of government making decisions without consultation, which affects a lot of our work. We've been trying to engage with the City of Johannesburg and the departments that manage waste to pick it up, and our efforts have been ignored. We've been requesting to have meetings with them. We want to have an approach where we already have suggestions of solutions, and what we need is an engagement so that we can suggest them and implement them. We have MOUs that has been sent to the city on finding alternative and proper working conditions and systems. And some of these programs are supported and financed by the private sector. So everything is ready and just waiting for the city to come down and talk to us, but they don't. And our approach is a peaceful process and request for them to sit down, create proper decisions, to create social plans for workers. But if they do not, we will use our powers of organizing to make sure that we show the incompetence and the problems of privatization that they're pushing our waste management process in the city in. Currently, we have 5 landfills in Johannesburg that are going to close within a space of a year, and they have no plan of what exactly they will do. The only thing that it will lead them is privatization. So it is intentionally causing a crisis so that in the last minute, the solution can be privatization. And privatization is going to be problematic for our work. It is going to sideline and exclude all of us. And the support we need, we are going to start a campaign, and we are hoping to start a petition and make sure that we stop the city from making these decisions. And it's not the first time we've done this. They've made a 50 rand levy that was supposed to be paid by each and every resident in Johannesburg who's a homeowner, and they had no plan on that. We managed to stop it, and we need support to actually help stop this other one that they're doing without consultation, without proper processes.
Well, there you have it. It's Luyanda Hlatshwayo, the spokesperson of the African Reclaimers Organization, also known as ARROW, a collective of tens of thousands of reclaimers in the city of Johannesburg in South Africa. They're fighting for dignity, they're fighting for their rights, and they're fighting against privatization of recycling, which, as you say, Luyanda, will probably just mean that the city will spend tens of millions of dollars on hiring a few private companies who won't actually recycle the plastic in the way that ARROW is doing now. They might even just take it and dump it anywhere else. And Luyanda has mentioned the founder of ARROW, Eli Kodisang, is currently battling blood cancer, and ARROW has taken up a campaign to secure some contributions to extend Eli's life. You can find that campaign on backabuddy.co.za. Help Eli fight cancer. Luyanda, do you have any closing words for our listeners?
Yes. The importance of us finding solutions from the ground to make sure that our government doesn't have a full control of what we're doing. And full control of our lives in every sector. The importance of workers uniting, the importance of people uniting, and make sure that the few individuals there in government actually hear from us, not us hear from them. The need for organizing people, the need to put money aside and put people first is what we are. This day and age is the generation that needs to revive the solidarity of people, and not just put names, but put people first and make sure that people fight for the rights and the livelihoods of the right to work and our livelihoods, the right to work for our livelihoods. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Luyanda, for your time, and thank you so much for your struggle. I think you'll get a lot of support from people out there. You're organizing thousands and tens of thousands of workers spread out across a huge city, informal workers who all work on foot without any resources, but yet you've managed to come together as a huge collective, set up trucks, set up warehouses, set up kindergartens, set up communal vegetable gardens. So this is really great, and I think you will get a lot of support and hopefully the rest of the anti-privatization and workers' organizations, shack dwellers, will all come together and unite and be part of your struggle. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Goodbye.